Merry meet witches! I'm Gory B Movie, and this is Gory Talk, the show that's kind of like a late night talk show, but with more beheadings. Tonight, we have Tori and Bri. I know them from Crypticon Seattle, where I do panels every year, and we've had some fun talking about all kinds of crazy movies, but you would know them from the Are You Afraid of the Dark podcast. So, before I introduce them, I do want to thank our my guests, Tori and Bri. And I put your names on there perfect because, yeah, I was like not sure, but my women's intuition told me.
My OCD is very happy right now.
And I always pick out my outfit based on who my guests are. And on the picture you sent me, yes, we got Evil Dead, and I remember you also had an awesome Wendy Torrance cosplay. So.
Yes, thank you.
And I'm repping Crypticon.
Nice. I wore my Crypticon shirt last with the one with Steve. I've had a lot of our Crypticon friends on. So if you're part of our, I like to call it summer camp, this group of ours that we've been hanging out with for years, you'll see a lot of familiar faces. Taylor was just on my last show, and
I saw that.
Kim Dowdett will be on this weekend, so Sunday.
Ooh, we love Kim.
My girl, my true crime.
Amazing. Yeah, with her, we're going to be talking about some like Seattle haunted locations and true crime. It's going to be super fun. But that is not today. Today, we're talking to Tori and Bri. So,
hello.
I've known you guys a really long time, and yet I actually don't know how you guys became friends, which is kind of weird.
Oh, our lore runs very deep. I think next year will be 20 years of friendship. So we had a mutual friend in high school, and I graduated the year before Tori, and our mutual friend got us together because Tori wanted prom photos taken, and I was doing freelance photography for like senior photos and all kinds of different stuff locally. So she hired me to take her prom photos.
And not all three of us went to different high schools. So it wasn't like I went to Capital, Samantha went, I don't remember where Samantha went, but so we all were in different places. And then Samantha was like, I think you would really get along with my friend Bri. She talked about her all the time. And I was like, yeah. And we were friends on the internet first.
Yeah.
And I kind of like stalked her.
Live journal era.
Live journal friends.
Oh my gosh, I remember Live Journal.
Yeah. we're dating ourselves.
We are. And then, she took my prom photos, and then we've been inseparable ever since. Mm-hmm. So, and our friend Samantha was a year behind me, and then Bri was a year ahead of me. So
I'm the eldest.
You are the eldest. I'm the middle, and then there's Samantha. She lives in Utah now. We still are in touch with her, but Bri and I just melded, and we've been inseparable ever since. So
That's
almost 20
awesome.
years.
Have you guys always shared horror together?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
What was the first
We
horror
used
movie
to
you guys
go-
watched together?
Dead Hate the Living, maybe.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna date us again. We used to be able to. Was the movie store still open? Am I making that up?
Tumwater.
So we would go and you could rent movies and bring them home and watch them. So Bri and I would go rent all. We were in a zombie kick. Bri was like schooling me on zombie movies, and so we would just get every zombie movie, go to my mom's house, and just watch all of them. But the Dead Hate the Living, I think I watched that movie like every day for like 20 days or something stupid. Like it was just really
That's
like I
an
loved
awesome
it so much.
full moon movie.
It is. If you know Full Moon, you know, like, they're kind of few and far between as far as being like actually good sometimes. But that one I thought was really entertaining, and having like a DIY horror movie making background, that one kind of resonated.
I also have
Yeah.
a memory of I think I was 18 and Bri was 19, and we would do sleepovers in my mom's like living room, and we tried to watch Dog Soldiers I think 2 or 3 nights in a row. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And we fell asleep every time, and then we just had to say like, is this movie just not good? Like I don't know, like is it us or
It's good.
it's good. But it was just the fact that we could not get through it because we probably were watching it like 2 in the fucking morning or something.
Yeah.
But I just remember Dog Soldiers being like a challenge.
That's one of the questions I actually had for you, because I think there are movies that you just can't watch with your friends. You cannot watch Skinamarink with 3 of your friends over. You're not going to get in. I mean, I'm not that into it anyway, but if you're going to give it a chance, that is not the chance. There are, I think, some other movies, like anything really, really quiet, I think generally doesn't work. But what do you think really makes a good movie to watch with your friends?
I really like watching cheeseball 80s body horror is always fun because it gets a reaction.
We are so I immediately Story of Riccio came to mind, and she just said everything.
Yeah. I'm thinking more like Street Trash.
Yes.
Dead Alive is fun. That's a good like splatter movie. Anything gory.
I think ones where there's a lot of things happening, like something like Brain Dead, where even if you walk away, you can come back and you don't really need to follow the plot. I think plot heavy ones might be a little bit harder with a group of friends because you're also talking and stuff. Ones that you can talk with. And I also think ones that have good music.
Yeah.
Tend to be good.
There's been a lot. I've shown people Frankenhooker. You kind of have to read
Love
the
that
room.
one. That's true.
But
we just showed Ronnie. He came up to visit and we showed him PG Gorman.
Nice.
And he loved
it. That's a fun party movie. We've shown a few people that as well.
My boyfriend is not necessarily a horror fan, and I told him so many times, I was like, we have to watch Psycho Gorman, and he just heard the name and was like, no. And it took, I think, 3 or 4 years before I was like, please just like, can you trust me? And we watched that, and he was like, that was so amazing. Like, he loved it so much.
It's so
I was like,
good.
you can't stop judging it. And I'm like, even as like, he's not necessarily a horror fan, it still is a good movie regardless, you know? And the other one I showed him recently was Houseu. I was like, just trust me. Like, we have to, and he loved it.
Yeah.
And they're actually playing it at the Capitol
Yeah.
Yeah. You're playing it at the Capitol Theater on the 6th. And I texted it to him and he goes, oh my God, let's go. I'm like, we watched that movie 2 days ago and he already wants to see it in the theater. So I was like,
that's so cool. I love that. A lot of the movies that I love from growing up, when I have the opportunity to see them at the theater, like our theater, I live in a much smaller town than you. They're from Seattle, the Seattle area. I live in a much smaller town, but see, to me, anything on that side of the mountains is Seattle because I'm small town folk. So Olympia, it's Seattle. I mean, except for like maybe Gig Harbor. When you get up into that area, that to me is different. But yeah, I kind of like Renton. Like I have a friend who's like, no, I live in Bellevue. I'm like, you live in Seattle. It's all Seattle. So
tomato.
But whenever I would go on tour when I was young in my punk days, like to California or wherever, and they'd say, where are you from? I just said Seattle because I'm not going to say Olympia. Nobody knows where the fuck that is. So like,
we're 2 hours south.
I live on the other side of the mountain, so everyone thinks that I'm having the same experience that you guys are, where it's very rainy. It's very it's like it's balls hot here. It's really dry. We get like 10 feet of snow. Where I think in Seattle, if you guys get an inch, everything shuts down. So,
Man, there was one year, I think it was like 3 years ago at my house. I'm next to the Olympic Mountains, so I'm a little bit even more south. I got 21 inches of snow.
wow.
Yeah.
No, Olympia, actually, to be fair, is actually not that close to Seattle. And would you know it's our capital? You'd think it's Seattle, but it's our capital. It's our capital city.
I know. It is, and it's such a like artsy, like cute town. It's very Washington. But yeah, Bri actually lives in Shelton, which is about 30 minutes away from me. And I'm pretty much on the outskirts of Olympia anyway, out on the peninsula. But I call Shelton Narnia because it'll be like sunny and I'm driving to her house and all of a sudden there's just a sheet of snow and there's 21 inches. And then I get snowed in at her house when we're doing the podcast. Like, it's like an hour record and you come out and it's just like.
That's the other thing with city people. If you ask somebody like, I'll go over there and have dinner or something with Tony. Where's the restaurant? Oh, it's only 30 minutes away. Here, if it's 30 minutes away, that's I don't want to do that. It's too far out of town. It's more than 5 minutes, and there needs to be parking. We're just we're a little I guess whinier in small towns. We want free parking. We want things close.
I think, well, not Olympia, I'm sorry. Washington is so vast. Something that I've noticed is like Bri and I have always, I mean, I'm on the property that I grew up on. So when we were teenagers, I was the one that had a car. I would be driving from here, which is Steamboat Island, to Shelton, which is a half hour, and then back an hour to Olympia, back here a half hour with Bri and Samantha all the time. And it's just, you're used to it because Olympia or Washington is so vast that everything where I'm is a half hour away. But then my partner is from Alabama. Don't judge him, it's not his fault. But we went down there and everything was 5 minutes away. And it was so weird to me. Like,
that's
he was
how
like,
it is where I live. I live in Wenatchee, which even that is kind of like the Seattle thing. I technically live in East Wenatchee, but you just tell people Wenatchee.
Oh, I love, I grew up a lot in East Wenatchee because my aunt's there. I love that area. But yeah, it's really weird seeing, towns that it's just, everything is just a rock's throw away. And I'm like, well, I got to drive 30 minutes to a grocery store. So
yeah. It's a lot different. I also,
she lives in the forest and I live on the water.
I think that's what's so cool about Washington State is we have so much like diverse areas, so many diverse areas here. We have the rainforest, we have the whole Forks area, which it is like the Twilight movies. It's completely different than Seattle, which is completely different than where I live. And then there's areas that are so like deserty and flat. There's like really mountainous areas. It's crazy here, but I love it. I love that we have so much. So checking in with our chat. Nice to see Mr. Flickster here. Scream, absolutely Scream. I actually grabbed that because Scream, I think, is a great go-to. It's a great slumber party movie. It's a great movie to watch with your friends. I also, when I think about like having friends over, because old, I think about like, stacking the VHSs on top of the VCR that you're going to watch for the night.
In order.
Yes. And Teacher Tash says Scream is truly one of the great horror movies we have had before social media spoiled movies. The best opening to pretty much any movie ever. Yeah, I'm so happy. I remember, because if you guys remember, we had kind of like a drought there in the beginning of the 90s because the slashers kind of oversaturated and people got tired of it. So we had a lot of direct to video stuff, which I like that stuff. But then Scream kind of brought horror movies back to the theater. And it was awesome. I saw opening day, 1996. It was awesome.
That's cool. I remember renting it and watching it and sitting on the floor in the house I live in now and watching it with my parents, and that I guess not so cold open, that hot open where they killed Drew was very iconic.
She was my favorite actress too. So I was like, oh my gosh, they're killing her. So like that, it was amazing. Some other ones, I think any Evil Dead movie is great. Yeah. The first one, maybe not if they're not big horror nerds, because it is a bit slower. But Army of Darkness, I don't care who you are. That is a go-to fun night to be had. Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2.
Yeah. You get the comedy, you get the horror, and then with Army of Darkness, you get that like dark fantasy element, which the other ones don't really give.
And then one of my favorites, The Craft.
Perfect.
Watch
Good.
this
You
a
watch
lot.
that, and then you do light as a feather, stiff as a board.
I've never actually done that, even though I would say The Craft is probably my favorite movie. I've never done
Mhm.
it. So
Have you ever done a Nancy cosplay?
a what? No, I
A Nan-
haven't.
You should.
I should. I wish we would get somebody from The Craft at Crypticon. 'Cause sometimes I try to line them up with the guests we have.
Yeah.
So far we've got David Howard Thornton's coming.
Yep.
And Matt Dinneman. I mean, he's there every
Cool.
year, but he's a guest this year, so I'm just happy for him.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be getting more announcements soon.
Yeah. If you guys haven't been to Crypticon Seattle, it's really a different experience than something like Comic-Con, any Comic-Con, because Comic-Cons are insane. Our Emerald City Comic-Con, there are just crazy lines for every single guest, and it doesn't feel to me as intimate or as personal as something like Crypticon, where there really aren't that many lines unless we get somebody like Elvira there. But you can just go up to anybody and have a conversation. What do you guys like about Crypticon?
Honestly, lately for me, the panels, because I didn't start doing panels until my maybe third or fourth year, because I still like wanted to have fun. I didn't want to feel like I was working. So I waited a while to join the panels, but I've been really enjoying that the last several years.
I attended Crypticon a lot early because you used to go to Oregon Country Fair at the same time as Crypticon, and I kept saying like, oh my God, trust me, you want to go to this.
Well, it used to be in July.
It did.
And
Yeah, that was a long time ago. So now that she did start coming, made it so much better. So having Bri there with me makes Crypticon better. And I'm so glad she's doing panels now because we get to do them together. I've been doing them for, I don't know, like 10 years probably. But
yeah, I think it's going to be my 10th year because I was going since the second year they did it. Danny and I went, and I think he went. No, I went the third year they did it. I didn't go to the one that was near the Space Needle. I went to the one that was in the weird basement. And then
that was 2009, I think.
Yeah, it was like the third one they did. No, it was 2010 because that was the year Danny and I started dating.
Okay,
where we had Ernie Hudson.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
2009 was my first year, and then 2010 was the year you're talking about.
Yeah, so you went the same year as Danny, but we went for a lot of years as just guests. We'd go for like half a day, and we thought the whole thing was just to go meet people who were in cool movies. And then we found out there was a film festival, and there's an after party, and there are so many other things going on at Crypticon. If you want to spend the whole weekend playing games with people, there's a room for that. There's so much going on. The panels are great because it's a lot like this. We have different topics that we discuss with other horror fans, or sometimes there's classes, sometimes there's workshops. There's a lot of writing workshops or filmmaking workshops. But after I think about like 6 years, Danny and I really wanted to get involved, and we went up to, I think, Lorelei, and we're like,
yeah, con mom.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Tony K's our con dad, and Lorelei's our con mom.
Kitty!
He's just doing weird shit under the table.
What have been some of your favorite panels from over the years?
Okay, so Kim and I did one because we always talked about serial killer stuff. You are purring really loud. We would talk about true crime stuff a lot. And so I discussed with her how maybe we should just do a panel called Serial Killers, which we did later again. And I called it Serial Killers 101. But the first one we did, it was just called Serial Killers. And it was in one of the smaller rooms. And I've never seen, I have a picture of it somewhere, so packed. It was every seat. People were sitting in the aisles around every area into the hallway, and everyone is just so into the topic. And I remember being like, holy fuck, like this is what people want to hear about. So then when we did Serial Killer 101, I think we did it in a bigger room. I might be wrong, but I was thinking about it recently. I'm like, maybe we should start doing that again, because true crimes of murder is something that we do every year. It's like an 18 up panel where we do show true, like there's some real crime photos. So it is kind of attend at your own risk, but
we've seen people get up and leave during that one.
I've put people I put a 14-year-old into a panic attack, even though I said multiple times, you have to be 18 and up. I guess some 14-year-old had a had a little mental breakdown because of what I was saying.
What serial killer were you talking about?
Pee-wee Gaskins.
Not great.
It wasn't great. I think I was doing like a Southern accent and I was reading an excerpt from his book and she just couldn't handle it, which I couldn't handle it. And I think that's another thing with, as much as I do love doing true crimes of murder, when you're doing the research, it's so draining that like the Pee-wee Gaskins one, I read his book that he wrote in his own words and I kept having to take breaks because it is so gross and draining. And it's straight, even if a lot of what he was saying in the book didn't happen, it was still from his mind. And he is such a fucking ugly, gross monster that it's like, yeah, I'll have to take a break and like watch a cartoon for a minute.
Cat
and
videos.
Yeah, like regroup. Like I love horror movies, you know, the fun gore, but when you're getting into the more true crime stuff, especially stuff that deals with children, that's when I get like, it kind of puts me into a dark place where I have to take it in stride and take breaks. And I don't know if people, I know we only do like a 30 to 40 minute presentation, but the work that Kim and I put into that specific panel is weeks, if not months of research that we're like kind of reading into the worst people that have existed. And it can be really fucking draining, you know.
I'm glad that you point out that it is hard to do and it's gross because there is this other subculture, like it's a fandom of serial killers. Like I remember we get a lot of boxes sent to us for horror addicts, just things to unbox, and one of them had like shirts and pillowcases with like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff on them, and like these are not. That's not. There's a big difference between that and Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger is fictional.
Yeah.
I would love a pillowcase with Freddy Krueger on it. I don't want to celebrate somebody who's gross and disgusting and done horrible things to hurt people. That there are people who aren't here now that should be because of that person.
Yeah.
And I think Kim and I do try to focus on when we are telling these stories. I think because we do have an interest in true crime, and I also notice that a lot of women have interest in serial killers and true crime because it does affect us more. So it's almost like you want to know, like, if I was in that situation, what could I do different? You know, kind of, I don't know. It's a morbid curiosity is natural. And so when we're telling those stories, you know, it is fascinating, but we always make sure to name the victims rather than just focus on the person that has done something horrible.
I think that makes a lot of sense because it is, I mean, it is something I'm very fascinated in. And like, I remember learning about the dating game killer and how the one girl got away. I'm like, oh, that's really interesting because just you always think, what if it happened to me? What could you do to get away? So I do think it's so fascinating, but there is like this weird line where like I don't want to celebrate them. And one thing that comes to mind when we talk about serial killers and that fine line between making them celebrities and exploring them in a way that's interesting is those Netflix monster series. So they did the Menendez brothers, they did Jeffrey Dahmer, they just did Ed Gein. How do you guys feel about those?
So I need to go in because I have a lot of feelings about that. The Jeffrey Dahmer one,
hit me.
I have a lot of feelings. The Jeffrey Dahmer one, I watched it and I know that story, or, you know, not story. I know that case very, very well. So watching that, I was like, yeah, okay. Well done, I guess. Sure. But it's kind of beaten into the ground. I don't want to hear about him anymore. So then when they decided to do a series called Monsters, and the very second one they do is the Menendez brothers, I was like, I will not watch that because they're not monsters. Those are victims. And I have a really big issue with that being the second case that that they decided to do. And then going into Ed Gein, as I was watching it, I was having such an issue. Like that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And then as it went on, I realized, oh, this is being told from the schizophrenic point of view. So it's almost like, yeah, that you're right. That didn't happen because he's schizophrenic. And the more I thought about it after I watched it, I really did like the Ed Gein one. What I have a problem with is they've made you feel bad for Ed Gein. They made you feel bad for Jeffrey Dahmer, but they did not do that. What I heard, they didn't do that for the Menendez brothers. So I do have an issue with that.
From what
I
I
did not
heard, I've only watched the Jeffrey Dahmer one, and I liked that well enough, and I thought they did a fair job with the Menendez brothers. From what I understand, they did, and a lot of people are now re-looking at it and going, "Hey, they were victims," and I've heard that a lot since it's come out. That one didn't seem to be as popular as the other two. What has made me not want to watch that one is apparently, I mean, to back up a little bit, they were both abused by their father pretty horribly. And they do include that, and that is factual. But they
Mhm.
had this kind of implied romance between the two boys that there's no, as far as I know, there's nothing factual to back that up. And I don't like it when he starts turning into an American Horror Story episode.
I was
When
just
he-
gonna
Yeah.
say, here's
Yeah.
the thing though. It's
Ryan
Ryan,
Murphy,
Murphy.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's gonna be a lot of extra dumb shit and sex, and it's just gonna be kind of sensationalized in this entertaining way because that's what he does. And sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's not. I'm only halfway through the Ed Gein one. I didn't see the Menendez brothers one. The Jeffrey Dahmer one, that one, it was a little hard to watch, but that's just the case.
Like at
That's
first
just
I
how-
really liked it, especially the one about the victim of his that was deaf. I thought that was really, really good. But then what made me angry about it wasn't what I watched, because I think it had the right effect on me that it's supposed to. It made me upset and sympathetic towards the victims. What upset me was then I saw a whole bunch of people who were dressing their children up as Jeffrey Dahmer, or girls who were like,
Exactly.
"Oh,
Yikes.
he's so hot," and it's just like,
No.
something got lost in translation here. If we're getting so much of this, like Jeffrey Dahmer was a really popular Halloween costume. And guys, this wasn't that long ago. I mean, I know some of you are really young, and bless your hearts, but I mean, my mom was alive when he was alive. Ted Bundy, I have a friend who her mom believes that he offered her a ride home from school, because we're near the Seattle area. So
Yes,
their victims are still alive. There are people who still remember these things happening.
totally.
If you're in Washington, everyone has a story about Ted Bundy.
Yes.
So you remember our friend Samantha that we talked about earlier?
Yes.
that
So
introduced us.
she's from Utah, and her mom and her moved to Washington. But when her mom lived in Utah before they moved, she worked with Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
Said he was great.
Mhm.
So crazy.
Yeah,
But
I've
it
heard-
really is like Kevin Bacon thing where you have like a degree of separation from Ted Bundy if you live in Washington.
because he was a very outgoing, sociable person. He did troll the colleges and stuff a lot. So if you were in college at the time, I feel like a lot of people knew him, like didn't know him, but came across him or knew somebody who came across him. So like I never have.
Yeah.
I wasn't. Well, I think I was alive then. But at any rate, I wasn't old enough to be of interest to him. So I guess that's the part that's frustrating for me about it. And I'm torn because when a new book about serial killers and stuff comes, it does pique my interest. Or when there's a new show, it piques my interest. But I also want to watch these things to learn something. And I heard the
Mhm.
Ed Gein one just from people who watched it, that they just made up a whole bunch of stuff. So if I'm not going to
Yeah.
learn anything, what's the point?
Yeah.
But I
It's
like what
done in
you
a
said
very-
about it being schizophrenic. So maybe I'll
It
give it
is.
a chance.
I hated it. I was talking so much shit on it as I was watching it. I was like, that's incorrect, that's incorrect. And then certain things you find out later, you're like, oh, it was supposed to be incorrect because he's perceiving things so differently. And at the end, I was like, okay, I actually really did appreciate the way this was done, because I've seen, if you want to see like an Ed Gein story, watch Deranged. If you want to see something, the only thing they changed in that movie is his name. I think they named him Ezra or something, but okay. So yeah, that movie came out a while ago, and that's what happened. So when you have heard a story so many times, doing it in a different way is hard to do. And I think he accomplished that. However, like I said earlier, at the end, they do try to make you feel bad for him. And I don't appreciate that, because yes, okay, he was schizophrenic, but he was still an actual fucking monster. So, it's like, it's hard. It's a hard.
I mean, I do feel sympathy for him
Ending.
because he was
Sure.
victimized to the point that I think he lost his mind. And he is credited with killing way more people than he's I mean, we only know of, I think, 2 or 3, right, that he's killed?
There was 2 that he for sure did kill. He killed the bartender, and then he killed the woman that he gutted like a deer in his he met her at the grocery store, the corner store, whatever it was, brought her and gutted her, which you can find those photos online. And the way that the Ryan Murphy series showed her was actually exactly accurate to the crime scene photos.
With him, because they talk about how he was a model patient when he went to the mental hospital that he went to after his arrest. It makes me think, like, it's just sad that he didn't have a chance to be a normal person. I think he may have
Reformed.
he may have been better if he had, decent parents. I feel like he was just kind of messed up from an early age. I'm not saying that I really sympathize with him. I sympathize more with his victims, but it is different than somebody like Jeffrey Dahmer, who's just, I feel like he's just evil. Whereas I feel like Ed Gein's just broken.
He's a victim of his circumstances. So I think also when people end up at the end of their killing spree and they're locked away, for instance, like I'm a tattoo artist and I worked with another tattoo artist who we called him One-Eyed Jimmy because he had an eye patch because he got his eye shot out in prison. So he's like a real tattoo artist, you know what I mean? But he told me that when he was in prison, he was in there with Gary Ridgway. And he's like, he's the nicest guy. He's like super religious now. And he like paints a lot and does this like some art stuff and he sells it for his victims. And I was like, I don't even know how to feel about that because I think buying anything.
Yeah. Like people who buy the Gacy paintings and stuff.
I don't
Gacy,
love that,
I think, is the actual, like, I think that's probably the most disgusting person ever.
Yes, I agree. And I think that the fact that he was donating anything that he supposedly sold to the families of the victims, I agree with that. I think that's okay. But if buying something where the money's going to them, or like I knew a guy that again owned a tattoo shop and he had a letter from Eileen Warnos with a piece of her panties framed in the lobby.
How do you feel about her?
Prison panty swatch.
How do I feel about her? That's a good fucking question. I think that she is also a victim of circumstance, but I do still think she was a killer. But I do, again, it's the same with the Menendez brothers, where it's like it's this victim. But if you're being the victim and then victimizing others, you're just passing it down. You know, there's a different way to do it.
Break the cycle.
The cycle. You know,
they are gonna make
someone, your parents beat you, don't beat your kids. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
do better.
Do better. I do think so.
Yeah.
But of course I feel bad for her, but she didn't need to kill people about it, I don't think.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean, I think horrible things happen to a lot of people, and then you make a decision about what kind of person that's going to turn you into.
Like, if it's a self-defense thing, that's one thing, but killing as many people as she did, I do not believe that was all self-defense now. I think that was probably more thought out and on purpose.
Yeah.
They are going to make one of those Netflix monster series of her. When it comes to a lot of these shows, which serial kill, I don't remember. Which serial killers are you just tired of hearing about? Like they just need to take a long hiatus from making movies and books about
We've done a lot of Ted Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a
Ted
lot
Bundy,
of Ted Bundy. Yeah. Definitely that.
I'm kind of sick of Dahmer too.
Yeah, Dahmer is another one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe Richard Ramirez.
Yeah, there's a lot of Gacy stuff too, and all that stuff just kind of grosses me out.
Yeah,
it does. So there was a few years ago that my step kid, she was probably like 8 or 9, and we were downtown at this comic book store, and I found My Friend Dahmer, the comic, and I was like, oh, like I've always wanted to read this, and I found it in the wild, so I bought it. And in the car, she's like, who is that? And her dad's like, fuck. He's like, well, it's a serial killer. And he ate people. And she was like, what? Did he season them? And we were like,
oh my God, that's the question.
Probably not.
No, he did. He did a little bit. Yeah. No. So I was like, well, great first question. And yeah, he did. And then she started asking more and more questions. She's like, oh my God. And I'm like, well, I'm going to give her the most like PG rated description that I can of this. And then her dad goes, we're running errands. He goes into the post office. He's in the fridge. She's like, tell me about another serial killer. So I'm like, well, okay. So I start telling her about Gacy. And she's like, so serial killers only kill men? And I said, no, actually, I just started with the 2 gay ones for some reason. They actually primarily kill women. And she's like, but there's not serial killers anymore, are there? And I'm like, there's always serial killers active. And she's like, but not up here. I go, primarily here, actually. Like,
Yeah, what
you
is
know?
with our area? I feel like we've had so many in the Pacific Northwest.
You know, it's the seasonal depression, maybe, or I like the doom and
Sparkly
gloom.
vampires and Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah, I
check
don't
in with
know.
our chat really quick here. So, Teach says Pet Cemetery was one I watched way before I should have. Same, dude. I
Yeah.
watched it. I'm 37 and Zelda and Victor Pascoe creep me out back into my mind.
Yes.
Like how
totally.
Tori's stepdaughter asked her about serial killers. That's how I was with my mother about the book she was reading. And so I'd ask her so many questions about Carrie, about Pet Cemetery. And then she'd be like, well, do you want to watch the movie? And she would tell me everything that was in it to prepare me. But Pet Cemetery was one where that gave me nightmares for so many years. But I don't know. I kind of look back on it
Yeah.
fondly now. I miss being that scared of a movie.
Yeah, same.
Oh, wow. So Zigma51 is in the chat and he gave me a $30 super chat. Order a pizza on me. Well, if you come here, then I can. But he's also my little brother. So. And he's a member of our channel memberships. Yeah. Thank you
Cool.
so much, Dusty. I really appreciate that. I just added his name too. The best sister ever.
Oh, wow.
So we had a good question from Adam. So the questions kind of come in. We'll go back and forth a bit, all right, guys?
Okay.
What's the worst part of Crypticon and the guest you want to dick punch?
Ooh, the worst part is being hungover Saturday morning.
When you
Probably.
have panels first thing in the morning.
Yeah, usually anywhere from 11 a.m. to noon to 1, and you have a slow start because we like to get our parties out on Friday night now. We've changed a little. We go hard day 1, and then we just kind of chug along through the rest of the weekend. What's been really nice is the last 2 years we've had no panels on Sunday.
That's cool.
So
I've had some of those in the
pack up our
past,
room.
which was fun.
Yeah, that's really nice.
It's nice when you have a whole day off.
I think the worst thing for me is, and I don't even want to complain about this because I love, okay, so the 2 panels that I have moderated for years that are 18 and up are always at 9 o'clock at night, which is True Tales of Murder and Most Disturbing Movies Known to Man.
With me!
So
sometimes.
Yes. Yes. So between 9 and 10 on Saturdays specifically is when everything's happening. You get like the burlesque shows and like all these events that I just miss. So I think that has been kind of a bummer for me that I'm like, man, I really
had a pretty good turnout though, which was nice.
Yeah, I just want to be there. I want to experience it, but I'm out there like showing dead bodies to a room of people.
I feel like when they're at 9 o'clock and stuff, I feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things because that's when there's movies starting. There's so much to do. So yeah, I agree. Like the late panels are hard. As far as celebrities, I want to dick punch. I honestly haven't had it's more handlers. Every so often you get a handler who just is way too, they act like they're a bouncer at a club. I remember I was talking to Mark Patton, and Mark Patton didn't have the ability to use my card. So I was fully going to go and get some cash, but I was still talking to him. And he was really friendly. He was showing me his journal and stuff. And the guy kept saying, if you're going to buy something, you need to go to the ATM. Like, he just kept interrupting. And I was like, you know what? At this point, I just don't even care.
Wow.
Just because he was so rude.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer because Mark Patton was lovely.
Didn't he win, like, I don't know what it's called at the convention, but they give a guest an award for being like the best guest each year. Or they used to do that. I think he got that one that year because he was so sweet. I've not had any bad guest experiences, luckily. So I can't really think of anyone except maybe for you.
I don't even want to say names. I feel so weird about that, but because we've done celebrity interviews and met so many people over the years, I don't want to dick punch anybody, but I do have 2 that it kind of fall into that. The first one is an iconic.
You want to clam jam someone?
No.
Maybe. Oh.
So the first one is an iconic actor that was famous from his childhood that I'm not going to name. And he, when I met him, told me that he had no interest in horror and that he was just there writing his fame from years prior and was trying to tell me about his other projects that he wanted to do. And I was like, okay. And then he like was kind of creepy and like touched like my lower back butt area. And I didn't really appreciate it. It was really strange. It was a strange interaction. I was like, why are you even here? Like, this is gross. Didn't love it. The
My
second
dog is
one
coming towards you to be your emotional support animal.
Good. The second one was a celebrity interview that we did, which again, it's whatever. Of someone that was pretty fucked up, which was fine. I've dealt with that before. And then I guess they ended up causing a scene up in the room later, which we weren't there for, but we heard all about it because that was our celebrity interview.
They were very nice to us.
Yes.
I had a good experience, but I heard other people maybe didn't.
Exactly. And I did have, prior to that interview, that person came up to me, and I think they were a little high uppers, and was like, can you stop this interview 10 minutes prior so that I can go smoke a cigarette? And I said, no, my job is to make you talk for an hour. You can just go smoke a cigarette. You're an adult. It's fine. Like, but my job is to make you talk for an hour. So I didn't really.
Yeah, I had one interview and it was really hard. I don't care. I'll just tell you who it is. Alex Vincent. It was my first one by myself because my first one I did with Jason, which made it so much easier. And it was with Fiona Dorff and Christina Elise, and they were lovely. And it was just like a slumber party. Mm-hmm. So I was so excited for my next one. He's like, hey, you know Chucky. You want to interview Alex Vincent? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do.
Yeah.
So I did, and he did not want to be there. He made it very clear he did not want to be there. And I think it's because he's very introverted, so I was sympathetic to that. But every question I asked him, I got like a one-word response, which is amazing because they were not ever yes or no questions. It would be like, well, kind of, maybe. Like, he just didn't want to talk about anything. On top of that, this was before I knew how to deal with crowd members who just shout out stuff. So we have a certain person, we have a couple different people at Crypticon who will treat the celebrity interviews like it's their stage. And she was going on about Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. To this day, I still don't understand what the hell she was going on about. But he looked really uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable. Now I just tell them questions at the end. But then at the very end of it, I felt so bad because he got up and he's like, I need a beer. I'm like, God damn it.
Dude, me too. Same.
It was rough.
Well, since you said names, the first story I told about was about Alex Vincent. I
kind of heard that he was like that with some people because I have a friend who does catering there, and she was saying that. So, yeah. And also he just doesn't like horror.
You had an interview that got canceled.
Oh, that sucked.
It was
Danielle Harris, and I did all this research for her, and but people don't really understand how much research you have to do for an interview, you know, and how much time is put into that. I literally take usually a full week off of work and miss out on money prior to Crypticon to make sure that I have all of my notes in order, everything that I need. So it's like, we take this shit seriously. So I had everything ready. I was really excited to interview her. I typically, when I arrive, I'll introduce myself to the person, be like, you know, I'm going to be doing your interview this year. And I said that to her, and she was like, oh, well, I'm actually leaving early, so the interview is canceled. And I was like, well, no one told me that. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I like reached out to Jason, and he was like, yeah, dude. And then later we talked about it, and he's like, she's not welcome back. That was actually pretty fucked up. And I was like,
that's really shitty.
Yeah, that super sucked.
She was there. Yeah, for even the panels, you know, especially when I moderate them, because then usually if I pitch something, I ask if I can moderate it. And I will tell people who are on the panel, like, here are some books to read. I'm going to be reading these books. Like, this is what I recommend that you read so that you are prepared. And one of them was a witches and horror one, which I'm pretty well versed in, but I still want to learn something new. So I had this new book I was reading, and I told people like a list of things to read, and they didn't do anything. And then I didn't feel guilty that they didn't have, you know, because when you're a moderator, it's your responsibility to make sure everybody on the panel is participating and speaking, but they had nothing. So I was just like, well, whatever, you know, it's fine. I can do this by myself. So
see, I'm the opposite. I will pitch 100 panel ideas, and then I say, and I don't want to moderate any of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want to be a part.
And I end up doing it. Of course, my baby.
And we do a panel too. We do the most disturbing movies panel. So we've done that a
Mhm.
couple times now, which is really fun. Have you watched any
is. That's
new
my baby.
disturbing movies that you wanna add to it?
I am so fucking livid with myself, and Bri is gonna totally like. Because what's the thing that you always tell me to clock in movies that I've watched?
Letterbox.
Fuck! I should have done that.
Letterboxd, yes.
there
Are you
was
on
a movie-
Letterboxd?
Again,
I am. Yeah, she is. She doesn't use it that much.
I don't use it,
I do.
which I now am upset with myself for not doing, because what happened?
You still can.
I know. But what happened is typically I will watch horror movies when my partner works every other weekend. He goes up to Burlington to work for the weekend, and I'm like, oh, it's my time to watch something fucked up that he wouldn't appreciate. And I remember I watched something so fucked up, and I said, I need to talk about this at Most Disturbing Movies Known to Man. I talked about it for like 2 days, like whatever. I cannot remember what the name of the movie was. I have been searching
What was it
through
about?
all of my watch history for the past, like, I don't even remember. I just remember the feeling that I felt where I said, this needs to be discussed. Because
Ah.
I know, because I consume so many movies, and I'm so mad at
Was it
myself
new?
for that. I think so, girl. It's literally just a thing that I was
I
like,
remember
I only remember
before
the feeling that I felt.
the first time I was going to be on the Disturbing Movies panel, I had like a month where I just watched nothing but like messed up movies I hadn't seen yet that I'd been meaning to get around to, but I just hadn't seen them. And I just felt really gross at the end of the month. Like I need a shower.
I gotta go take a shower.
But honestly, here's the
I
thing
do
with
have
me,
one.
and I think I've said this on the panel before. I honestly can watch just about anything. If it's fictional, it really doesn't really affect me. What affects me are the ones like The Girl Next Door, where that is, loosely, but it's still based on a real life story. And then I will be like in tears, and I don't cry during movies. But when
Yeah.
they're based on real stories, or they even take something from real stories, I get way emotional about it. But I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
Salo, guys, when they're eating poop, it's ice cream. They're eating ice cream. All right, it's
Hey,
fine.
we grew up in the 2 girls, 1 cup era.
Yeah.
We're fine.
I used to have people watch Visitor Q as a vetting technique to see if they could hang with us. I get it. I did watch a new one though that I just thought of.
What's
Did you
that?
see Match?
Match?
Okay.
Tell me
I
about
want to talk about it.
Match.
I want to talk about it. So it's a Tubi original. You heard that right.
Complete with commercials?
Yes. Holy fucking shit. I swear to God, for someone that likes disturbing movies, this is going to put Tubi on the fucking map. It is so horribly hard to watch. I had to pause it multiple times. And I'm going to do a little, and it's not even spoilers. I'm just going to tell you some stuff. So it's about a girl who's on these dating apps, and she matches with this like really handsome guy. She goes to meet him, and the mom is at the house, like, she's like, oh, hey, it's like this elderly woman. And she's like, come on in. He's on his way. She's like, I'll get you some wine. And she's like, oh, I didn't know you like lived here. That's weird. So she's texting the guy. And every time she texts the guy, the mom's phone goes off. And she's like, what the fuck? So eventually, obviously, she drugs the wine, and she pulls her into this part of the house that is so vast. And there's so many rooms, and there's so much going on. And she brings her like, what's the substance monster? Elisa
Monstra? Monstra
Elisu?
Elisa? I ask Bri.
Monstro Elisu.
Yes, this son of hers looks like this substance monster. He is like so fucking gross. And he comes in, and she's like, the mom's like, she wants him to fuck her because she wants a grandkid, I think. But then like the point I had to pause it was when she's like, oh, my beautiful boy, you know what to do. Have you been practicing? No, let me show you. Close your eyes, and jerks him off. And like it shows it to completion, and then she's like wiping so much cum off of her hand, the mom. And I was like, oh, by the way, I was watching this at work in our break room, and I was like, I can't be watching this at work. This is so fucking bad. So anyway,
It's fine, it's on Tubi.
It gets so fucking
Wow.
unhinged. Like it's so gross, dude. I promise the effects are phenomenal. The story is grotesque. And they show his penis, which is, hold on, I'm not even exaggerating. Oh, he hangs dong. Okay, wait. It's probably about that big.
Wow, you need
and
both
like
of you to
that
do
wide
it.
around. Oh, he just pulls
like
that
Greasy's
fucking
Strangler
cock out,
dong.
Like, amazing movie.
Wow.
But it made me so physically ill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm getting ill just hearing about it.
No,
I'm
no, I didn't think of this one.
Wow, we'll have to
Yeah.
talk about that. That's a lot.
Yeah, to be original, by the way.
Wow.
Match.
So you can watch that for free. Bri, have you seen
Yeah.
any really messed up movies lately?
Lately, no, not really so much. I've been really, really slacking this year in keeping up with movies. You know, just work and other life stuff has been kind of piling up. So I'm a little behind on like seeing all the must-sees of the year before the year's out. I like to try to. So I have quite the list I need to finish out.
The movie that grossed me out the most this year would be Ugly Stepsister, which it's good because it's a genuinely great movie. It's beautifully filmed. It's beautifully acted. It's a retelling of Cinderella. But oh my gosh, they're just, and I'm hard to gross out. You know this.
Yeah.
There are just so many scenes in that are so gross. Like, and I like it because it's talking about the unrealistic beauty standards that women are forced into, which makes you sympathetic towards this stepsister. It touches on a lot of the same things as The Substance, and I feel like it's done in a way that feels real because it was done by a female filmmaker. You can tell the difference between when men do it and when women do. There's just something a little more like, oh wow, you know, we don't talk about
it that. Resonates a little more.
Yes.
You're talking about the ugly stepsister, right?
Yeah, when she takes the eggs, she eats these tapeworm eggs, and then she's just barfing up eggs and tapeworms, and oh man, dude.
Did we make that part of our holiday horror movie list for Easter? Eggs?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. I watched that one in the middle of the day, like a psychopath, and I felt so nauseous at the part where she was doing this.
Yeah.
And I watched it when George was home, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And sometimes I you know, make him watch some, or I don't make him.
Should do. So, I mean, if you have me back for the disturbing paneling, you know what we should do? So my brothers and I, to up the ante of really disgusting movies, we would try to come up with the nastiest food we could make to go with it, to make it even more disgusting, right? So
we did that too.
You know, like if you're making Brain Dead, you do custard, but you put a little bit of like raspberry filling on top, you know? Things like that.
Well, we did Cannibal Holocaust. We had a calzone with ribs inside of it, and when they opened the turtle, we opened the calzone. And then my favorite one I did was me and my friend Jorge during, this is horrible because this movie is actually based on real events, but Men Behind the Sun, when the intestine scene happens, Lady and the Tramp ate a vegan kielbasa sausage.
Oh, dude.
At least the sausage was vegan.
It was vegan, but
I know what we'll do. So if we do it again, we should get, I mean, because it's late anyway and I'm usually hungry, we should plan what our snack is going to be and have a really disgusting snack and eat it while we talk about it.
It's like the people that's like, experience the movie through the food from the movie.
It's just the ugly stuff.
It's the worst. So eggs, everyone's just going to eat eggs. Okay.
I don't know. A charcuterie board of eggs.
That room's going to stink.
I love it.
Any dream guests you guys want to see at Crypticon? I would love anybody from the craft. Anybody.
Yeah, I would love that too. I would love, I know it's kind of hard because he does Wizard World, but Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
Would be great to see him. I would love to see Ted Raimi one more time. I've met him once in Portland. Love to get Ted
Candyman, right?
Yes. The hottest of the Raimi brothers, if you ask me.
I just love that one. I love to go up to celebrities and just mention like the weirdest thing they've done to them and just be like,
yeah. Oh, Ted Raimi, you're in the 5 minutes of Blood Rage selling condoms in the back.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful. He's Produce Joe.
And also just more people from Scream is always good.
Yeah. Always good.
Like there's another one.
Skeet Ulrich would be a dream.
Who?
That'd be cool.
Skeet Ulrich, because I've met Matthew Lillard, but I want to meet Skeet Ulrich. He's
Our story of him is pretty funny.
I do have a funny fucking story about him. But yeah, Skeet Ulrich would be good. Christina Ricci would be good. But yeah, when we met Matthew Lillard, have you heard this story before?
I have not.
It's insane. So this was many years ago. We were walking up to Crypticon, and my ex-husband is in front of us, and we see this girl laying in the parking lot. And I said, oh, she's like pretending she's going to jump up and scare us because it's Crypticon. So we're moving closer to her, and then my ex is ahead of us. He looks down and his eyes get wide and he said, you need to call the cop, or you need to call the paramedics right now. And I said, okay. So we're calling them. I get closer to her and realize that her eyes are open, but there's gore just gushing out of her head. And this is not fake. This is real. So we're in emergency mode at this point. We're calling the paramedics. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I'm in SeaTac. I'm not familiar with the area. We're at the DoubleTree, whatever.
What happened to her?
So it looked to me like someone bashed her in the head with a baseball bat, because it didn't look like she got hit by a car. It was only her head. She couldn't speak, but her eyes were open. So people started coming closer to her, and they tried to touch her. I'm like, do not touch her. Just keep talking to her. Keep her awake, And I'm on the phone with the paramedics the whole time. I'm at an 11 of stress and anxiety. So the paramedics roll in, and they said to me that I needed to go run inside and get the security for the hotel. And I said, okay, can do. So I'm running, cut everyone in line, and I start babbling like I'm like, oh, there's a girl. It looks like she got hit in the head with a baseball bat. You need to send security now. She's bleeding everywhere. And the person I pushed out of the way was a friend of mine. And then so when I turned, he grabbed me. He goes, oh my God, what happened? And him and someone next to him, I'm telling the story. And by the way, this is the year that George Romero was supposed to be the guest, but he ended up pulling out. So I'm looking, and all of a sudden I go, I'm sorry, are you Matthew Lillard? Because I didn't know he was going to be there.
He was like the replacement celebrity.
He was the replacement celebrity, but I'm babbling at my friend who is his handler. And he goes, yeah, I'm Matthew Lillard, but keep going. What happened? So I'm telling Matthew Lillard this trauma story, and he's like, oh my God. And so then later, every time I saw him through the convention, he's like, come here. He's like, and then this punk girl runs up to me talking about a dead body. And then he multiple times, he tried to ask me to tattoo him in his hotel room, which I didn't have my equipment. That would have been amazing. He told me a story about him finding a body that he had to give.
Wow.
The person died.
The person died. We trauma
bonded with Matt Lillard.
Wow.
Andrew and I had paid for a professional celebrity photo op.
Hold on, give me just a second. I gotta let the dogs out.
Oh yeah, do it. Ooh, 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 ooh. Who let the dogs out? Haley did.
That was an actual crazy experience.
Very
I think
crazy.
For me, the worst part is not knowing what happened
to her. Yeah.
To her.
Yeah.
Because I still to this day
don't know what happened
to her.
But so Andrew, my husband, and I got celebrity photo ops because it was the first year they were offering those. And I was like, oh, is it going to be different than getting pictures of the table? So I just paid for a couple just to see what it was like. And so we got a Matthew Lillard photo op. And when we walked into because it's just in a big room, and we walked into the room and it's him talking to a bunch of other people that have paid for the photo op. And we walk in and he looks at us and he points at us and he was telling everyone in the room this story about this lady in the line and this woman that was bleeding from the head, and he points at us and he's like, it's them. And so everyone in the room looks at us, and it's just this kind of,
if we ever meet him
bond.
again, he will remember us.
That's so cool.
It is, but at the end of the day,
I mean, not cool what happened to her, but cool that you
real gore sucks. That shit sucked. That was so horrible to be my first thing that I experienced walking into the convention that year, and to not know what happened to that girl. I checked the news so many times, nothing was reported about her. So in my mind, I'm hoping that means she did not pass away.
To quote Paul Malik, real gore's not cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
He was with us when we saw her.
It was our whole group.
Yeah, Matthew Lillard was great the year he was there. One year I brought my son and he was a panelist. He is still the youngest panelist I think we've ever had. He did the Introducing Kids to Horror panel, but he went because Matthew Lillard was there and he's Scooby-Doo a freaking cessed. But I was nervous because he was only 12 and I was just like, I wanted it to be a good experience, but I can't predict what they're going to be like if they're going to be a dick or whatever. And we went to his interview and I was kind of nervous because Tony K was interviewing him and he just went to Tony. He's like, yeah, just sit down. I got this. And I was like, oh, shoot. I know Tony, I would be upset because you put a lot of work into your questions and stuff. And he basically just told Tony just to sit down and he took over and he was getting some annoying people asking annoying questions like, why do you spit so much in movies? And he was just kind of going back at them heckling. I was like, oh, great. Well, my son was really nervous and I was like, no, go ahead and ask your question. I'm they're being rude, and that's why he's talking to them like that. And he raised his hand, and Matthew Lillard walked all the way up to him, and he's like, "What's your question, buddy?" And he's like, "What is your favorite Scooby-Doo show?" And he's like, "Mystery Inc." And he did the Shaggy voice for him in his ear, so just he could hear it. He still won't tell me what he said. It's just between the two of them. But the next day, what was cool is he remembered him when he was in line. He's like, "Oh, it's my buddy." And it was really cool. And he asked him, he said, "Can I give you a present?" Like, he didn't just assume. And he gave him this like Scooby-Doo beanie, and it was just really cool. It was really sweet.
That's really sweet. He looked like he did really well with all the kids that were there. I was kind of, we walk through the vendor hall so often that like you'll just see people interacting with all the other guests, and I saw him like sitting on the floor with children and just being like really cool with all the little kids.
I think he really likes kids.
Yeah.
Because he's a dad.
He's good with them.
Yeah.
Totally.
He's good people.
Yeah, he's really cool. Someone said, "I don't think Ted Bundy would be as popular if he wasn't as good looking." I feel like even if they're not that good looking, people still kind of romanticize them, because I think there are some people who have this fantasy of, well, they're evil to everybody but me.
I'm going to fix them.
Or they're going to fix them. But I think, and to a degree, I kind of understand this. Not to that degree. But I did, my first serious boyfriend, and my son's biological father, he's kind of a dick. To the point where people would find out I was dating him, and they'd be like, "Really, him? He's kind of a dick, and you're so sweet." And I'm like, "Well, he's not like that with me." He's just, and he wasn't violent or anything to anyone. He was just really mouthy. He was a mouthy guy, and I thought he was funny. So it didn't bother me, but it, I kind of did like that I saw a side of him nobody else saw. Like, it was just for me. So sometimes I think with these people who are interested in the serial killers, they write them letters and stuff. And I think they want to have this like relationship with them that they think is special, like this romance, like they know them in a way that other people don't, that they can find this goodness in them. But for some of these people, I don't think there is any goodness in them.
No.
There is something called hybristophilia, which is also called Bonnie and Clyde syndrome, which is women that are, or men that are attracted to a serial killer. And what it is this like hunter-gatherer day instinct that we have, where you want your mate to be the most violent so that you can make violent babies and survive. But that doesn't work when your person is in prison. They're not protecting you. But it's literally a primal thing that some people have, unfortunately, and it is a syndrome. So
I also think there's like something to mixing sex with danger. I think that's why people like vampire movies. They want that adrenaline rush of, that's really, really dangerous, or why some people get really big, ferocious dogs. Like, I think some people like having, danger and stuff in their lives. And so mixing the idea of dating a serial killer, it's kind of like, it's like vampire movies, it's like Bella and Edward kind of stuff, but he won't actually reveal himself to just be a vegetarian. He's actually a horrible person. But I think some people get this twisted fantasy in their head that,
I also, as far as Ted Bundy not being as popular if he wasn't attractive, I think his confirmed kill count is one of the highest.
Yeah.
It's like, what, 30, is it 33 or no, that's Gacy. It's up there. He's one of the higher confirmed kill counts. So I think he would still be prevalent. And also, as far as like attractiveness, there's people that were like Richard Ramirez. They thought was
halitosis.
That dude was so gross, and he like raped kids.
Gacy's disgusting. Like, he was a disgusting looking person on top of being a disgusting. Just in his actions, and he killed a lot of people.
And he still had groupies.
And he has groupies. Yeah, people thought he was like that. Like, I don't even know. And I don't want to judge people for who they're attracted to, but I will for this instance. You know what I mean?
Well, if you're attracted to a serial killer,
that's what I mean.
Problem.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've never found any serial killers to be attractive, but I mean, I don't know. I guess when I was a kid and I first saw Fright Night, I thought Jerry Dandridge was attractive, but he's fictional. And he's Chris Sarandon.
Fiction is fine.
Humperdinck?
Yeah, dude.
Ulrich.
Wow. Do you guys have any favorite horror movies of the last 10 years that stand out to you?
Ooh.
Someone
last 10
mentioned When
years?
Evil Lurks. Yeah, When Evil Lurks is a good one.
That came to my mind.
Oh, that movie is so good. That was the first one I thought of when you said any recent fucked up movies you saw, and I was like, is that recent enough?
Yeah.
I don't
think
know.
so.
Yeah, I guess so. I think
Mr.
so.
Flickster
I
has seen
watched it
Match.
recently.
Did you guys see Bring
Yeah.
Her Back?
Yes.
I have not seen that yet, but I am going to. So
It's
the last
that
10
one's
years. I think Get Out was really good. And that mostly just because it surprised me because it came out in February. And I don't know about you guys, but when a movie comes out in January or February, I go in like, and it was a Blumhouse too. And the trailer, I was like, what is this? I wasn't sure. So I had really low expectations. And I had never seen Jordan Peele do anything but comedy. So I was like, my expectations were on the floor. And it was so good. So I think that had a lot to do with it.
I've really liked all of Jordan Peele's movies so far.
Whereas like Hereditary, it was different because
Yeah.
everyone was like, it's the scariest movie since The Exorcist. Like the expectations were so high that when I first saw it, I was like, that was it? But now as I watched it more and more, I really like it. But at first it was just like,
Yeah,
my expectations were too high.
I don't know if I would say that that was scary for me, but I definitely had feelings watching it, and that was one of the movies in the last 10 years I think that is very, very good.
When did The Void come out? Is that
2015, I think?
it's just out of reach. Oh wait, no, that's still
That
that's
counts.
in 10 years. The Void.
I think so, yeah. The Void was
one's
good.
fun.
Peachy
The
Gorman,
Void
we
counts.
talked about that earlier.
Yeah,
Also,
that's
I like the
people
Final Girls a lot.
Man, yeah. I love the Final Girls.
great.
And
So
you know, that's a
good.
PG-13 movie, but it's so good.
Do you know why it's
And
PG-13?
it kind of gets you in the feels. No.
So the reason why it's PG-13,
Why?
it was actually co-written by I always blank on his name, but you know, dang it, I'm blanking on actors' names right now. But you know, Father Karras in The Exorcist, right? Jason something. Are you guys frozen? Are you guys still there?
His dad worked on the X.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
so his son, who was also Homer in Near Dark, and he was in Teen Witch, and he was in Halloween 3, he was in a lot of stuff when he was a kid. His son wrote that movie, and he wrote it because he had years of people inviting him to Exorcist screenings, and he was just like, you know, I really don't want to see my father die again on screen because my father actually died. And to me, that's different. It's not fun. And so this was the inspiration for this. And it was important that it was a mother-daughter story. Well, they pitched it to studios and they said, no guy is going to want to sit there and watch some sappy mother-daughter shit. You need to make it a romantic relationship. And he's like, well, no, because that's what everything is built upon here. That's the core of the film. And they're like, okay, well then fine. If you're going to do that, then only women are going to see it. And women don't like horror movies. They can't handle gore. So we're going to have to make it PG-13, cut out all the violence and all the sex. And it just makes me so mad because it's such a gross misunderstanding of how women, how female horror fans are. Are you guys frozen? Oh no. Oh no, they're frozen.
No, I think we're just delayed.
Okay.
Are we?
I think we're just delayed.
Okay.
Oh.
You guys can try leaving and coming back in if you want. Sometimes that helps when there are problems.
Okay. Will that help?
Sometimes.
Okay.
They'll be back. Don't worry. So checking in with you guys. We're having so many long day. Good to see you too, Zigma. Thank you. I love you. Okay, they are back. Oh my gosh, you guys look so much more clear now. I don't know what you did, but I can't hear you. Uh-oh. Did you guys choose your mic? They'll be back. Yeah, I think the other thing with Final Girls is how it really underestimated male horror fans, because I think male horror fans like a movie that has real heart. And I know so many guys who love Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and I know a lot of guys who love The Final Girls. I can't hear you two, but you look lovely. Your screen is so much more clear. Let me try putting the link in again. So when you come in, you got to select your mic and your speakers and your camera. I just can't hear you. No. We're having technical difficulties. Let me know if you guys are in the chat. Yeah, how you guys are doing. I'm just gonna chat with them for a sec while you guys figure it out. Leaving and coming back in, sometimes that helps with stuff. It's like did you try turning it on and off again? I mean, not like leaving the room, Bri, but I mean, that works too. See if I can help. Refresh. Try going out and come back in. And then just selecting it again. Ooh, I don't even want to know what mousetrap refers to, Mr. Flickster. Tori? Can you guys hear them? No, because you're not registering up on the volume at all. What'd you do last time? I did it? Favorite Xmas horror movie? Probably Gremlins. Sorry, guys, for the technical difficulties. Yeah, Gremlins is awesome. All right, I'm going to give you a new link. Let's try it again. All right, I sent them a new link. Hopefully that works. All right, how are you guys doing in the chat? So while they are okay, they're back and I can hear them. Yay! No worries. I'm just glad you figured it out because I would have been so sad if that was the end of our conversation.
I know, no goodbye.
No Patrick, let me know what that is. Yeah, it would be so sad. That's what I like about this show is I have a lot of friends that I don't really get to sit down and have a real like conversation with. Because I mean, even though Crypticon I think is better than a lot of conventions in that you can have more conversations, like it's just nice to have like to get to know you guys better and hear your stories. Yay!
I like having in between con hangouts. It's always a treat.
So that is a big part of it too. A lot of my friends from Crypticon, because I have lots of different pods of horror friends. And my Crypticon friends, I don't get to see for a lot of the year, which is sad. But anyone who watches the show knows, like a big part of starting this show was I had a friend who passed away, and it was just sad because I just wish I had reached out more and I had stayed in touch more. I tend to let life bog me down and then I don't do things. So yeah, this has just been a really cool way to stay in touch with the people who watch the show, stay in touch with my friends I don't see, just check on them, see what they're doing, get to know them better. So
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I haven't asked you guys about yet is your podcast, the Are You Afraid
Oh,
of
yeah.
Are You Afraid of the Dark podcast, which you guys do with Bri's husband and then your friend Andrew?
Derek.
Derek. No, Andrew's Bri's husband.
Andrew's her
Okay.
husband.
Yes. I'm getting names mixed
And
up.
They've both been to Crypticon. Derek's been a couple times. Andrew comes almost every year. I'm
I've
sure
met
you've
Andrew.
seen them in the halls. Yeah.
We did a live recording of the podcast at Crypticon one year.
Yeah.
That was
That was
you
fun.
guys did one at Comic-Con, right?
We did one at Ace Comic Con. We did one at Grit City Comic Con, and then we did one at Crypticon. But it's a little complicated to do because we bring like pretty much a whole computer and recording stuff, and so we kind of stopped doing that just because it was a bit much on top of every other panel we have to do. So
yeah, Derek I've heard on the podcast and I've seen on the Oscars, but I've not met him.
Yeah.
So how did you guys get started with your podcast?
Well, it kind of just started out with Derek came over and hung out with us like once a week, and we'd watch movies and stuff. And then he and I are both very much Mystery Science Theater 3000 kids, in that when we watch stuff, we like to crack jokes and make fun of it. And so what became, let's hang out once a week, watch movies, and just be silly and enjoy each other's company, turned into, let's rewatch this show that we grew up on, see if it holds up, and make a podcast about it. And so Andrew and Derek and I started in 2018 with the podcast, and we started watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? Because that was the one that we kind of all had a kinship to. And eventually we got down a few seasons and we started having guests, and we had Tori guest. And then before too long, we asked if Tori wanted to join full time to be like our fourth member. And I feel like that's when we really started to get our groove. We finished all of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And then we started watching Erie, Indiana. There's 2 seasons of that. And then we started watching all of Goosebumps. And then we watched all the new
we're breakdancing.
Yes. So that's our sub show, I guess, our sister show, like Goosebumps, but with more breakdancing.
I have the sticker right here.
So, yeah, we've watched all the new Are You Afraid of the Darks, and then we watched the new first season of Goosebumps. And currently we're on a bit of a wintertime hiatus, but we do plan to go into the second new season of Goosebumps soon.
Do you guys do a new episode every week?
We were doing it once a week, but it became a bit much on top of, so I edit. And so on top of like recording my actual job and then editing and promoting, we've changed it to bi-weekly. So we have a week on, a week off, and it's much easier on my brain. And I like it that way. Yeah. But Wednesdays usually is our release day.
Yeah, we're taking a pretty big break. I mean, to be honest, like when you're with, all of us have been friends for Bri and I are the friends the longest, like 20 years, but I've known Derek and Andrew for probably at least 15 years, I want to say. So we've been through a lot together. And just to be transparent, I mean, we started that podcast in the midst of someone having a pretty extreme emotional breakdown, I would say, to kind of help them with that. And right now, you know, there's also an extreme emotional breakdown that we need to take a break for a minute. And that's okay. You know, when you've been putting out content for 7 years, you know, sometimes you need to be doing it to help you, and sometimes you need to step back. So we're gonna come back, you know, we still hang out, we still, you know, do our thing, but just taking a breather, I think, is what's like best right now for that person. So I think that, you know, when you're trying to just be a comic and be funny about something, you know, sometimes you can't deliver that, you know, and that's okay. So when we're ready, we will all come back. But 7 years is a long fucking time. I just realized like we've gone through so many seasons of so many shows that are so iconic to us 90s kids. And in that time, we got to meet and interview people that were in the show. I mean,
Yeah.
fuck, we interviewed, what was the first guy that got interviewed?
So Ty Swenson,
Yes.
he was in The Tale of the Midnight Ride, which is like an Ichabod Crane episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And he reached out to us, and we went and met him down at his hotel room in Portland one time. That was probably like could have been dangerous without looking into it, but it was actually good. And so he's become a friend, and one of the directors of one of the new seasons, there's like 4 new seasons of Are You Afraid of the Dark, he reached out to us kind of post-COVID and was talking to us about things, and we become friends with him, and so we got to interview him. And the actor that played the Shadow Man in his season, who actually was in Prey as one of the like backup dudes in the Predator suit, so we got to meet and talk to him. His name's Kyle Strouts. He's very cool. So yeah, we've met a few interesting people.
Jessie.
Yeah, Jessie Liang. She's also in that.
Was the mom in the first new Are You Afraid? But yeah, the showrunner actually reached out to us and said that him and his boyfriend had been listening. They were on a road trip, and someone on set had mentioned our podcast, so they binged our podcast on this like road trip. And I was like, that's so funny and crazy.
Yeah.
So they actually reached out to us.
I think he just did the new Dora the Explorer movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, JT. He's cool.
Yeah, JT's awesome. And also I think at one point Nickelodeon's like official Instagram like liked one of our things. I am so surprised they haven't sued our ass, dude, because like we they have tried to block, not them specifically, but we've been blocked from so many like merch situations because of copyright.
Oh yeah. So we have a logo that is actually a photo Andrew took of my hand holding the microphone, very much in the Are You Afraid of the Dark match picture.
Mm-hmm.
And it's we made this completely on our own. The only thing is the font is very similar. So anytime we tried to make shirts, hoodies to send out to our listeners that do Patreon, anytime we try to make anything with our logo, it's like, oh, copyright infringement, can't do it. So
that's
from something
as someone who does YouTube, I understand.
Yeah. So we've had a few setbacks there, but everything else has been pretty chill and really rewarding. We've met a lot of cool people that listen to the podcast and have been listening to the podcast since day one, and they've stuck with it and listening to our dumbasses every week, and we've made friends.
Yeah.
I started a podcast recently, and I think what's hard for me, because I've been doing YouTube since 2015, and YouTube, like right now, we're interacting with the chat. Like I like the back and forth. I like the communication, or even with videos, there's comments. You really build a community. And every podcaster I've talked to, I'm like, hey, how do you guys build your community? How do you talk to your fans? And so far, I haven't gotten anybody who actually, I think some people like that they're not interacting with their fans, but you guys do. So how do you do that?
I run most of the socials. So we have a Facebook and we have an Instagram. I would say we're most active on Instagram than anything. We have a Patreon. And then people just kind of comment and DM, and I don't hesitate when I comment back or respond back. So I'm very available when people want to talk. And sometimes if it's a question or a message to the group, I will wait and, I'll read it when everyone's around so we can all kind of formulate a response. We've also done a Discord, which as of right now is only available through a link through our Patreon, but I think maybe it might be fun to open that up to everyone. Make it more
I
active,
would like it. I have a Discord too.
There's only like 6 people on it, so it's very small, but it's like some of our core listeners that have been around for years.
And it'll just be like checking in, like, random things.
What are you watching?
Yeah, what are you watching? So we're pretty open with talking to our listeners. We know a lot of them by name that comment on our things. We've had people that make us stuff, and so,
That's so cool.
we'll get like a package and we're like, oh, Ashley sent us a package. Chelsea made us a package, and it's always such a sweet gift and so thoughtful because they've been listening to us. Like, it feels like we're friends, even though we're more talking in their ear, but like it still is a friendship, that
I love that, because that's what I've had through YouTube, and I've just been kind of struggling to get it with podcasting. But I like that you guys have done it, and I think with my podcast, because I've only done like 3 episodes, It just needs to take more time, but
It does.
We have a
And,
Discord.
you know, I'm in the early years, I was a lot more active on the Instagram, and like I would just even go on and share, you know, people's artwork that was relevant to the podcast. So Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps artwork, and share that. Share people's tattoos, like, you know, just kind of make it poppin'.
Yeah. People with similar interests, you know,
Yeah.
to us. You're like, oh, you know, you are interested in the same thing as us. Like, we're gonna promote your thing, you know, and
without being like spammy about it.
no,
but
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just appreciative.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How did you guys decide to stay with Are You Afraid of the Dark podcast? Because you've done so many different shows, but you cover a lot of, you know, you've skipped with the same name.
Yeah.
Does it make
That's
it
just kinda like
confusing?
I don't know. It might for new people.
I have an answer to that,
okay.
because what I think it is we started, I know I came in at like season 3, but we started with Are You Afraid of the Dark, and we were like, we're just going to get through this. We didn't expect it to become what it was. So at a point we were just friends having fun, trying to do this thing for us. And a lot of people appreciated it. And at a point we were getting like 8,500, wasn't it, downloads per episode, while we were also getting nominated for best podcast for TV and movie. And we did not see that coming. So once it reached a point where we were realizing how popular this was becoming, we were like, oh shit, there's only so much Are You Afraid of the Dark? And these people actually like listening to our idiot asses talk. So once you know, we decided to do Vacation Land, which is when we went to Erie, Indiana, and we're like, okay, we're going to talk about this for a little bit as a break, come back to Are You Afraid of the Dark? And then Nickelodeon was like, or JT was like, I'm going to give you more content. We did not see that coming, like more Are You Afraid of the Dark coming out. We're like, perfect, thank you. But we ran out of that as well. So then we said, well, let's watch Goosebumps. So then what Derek decided, because he's our leader, is it's
leader.
yes, he said it is Are You Afraid of the Dark presents like Goosebumps or breakdancing. So it is still our initial podcast, but this is us going again. So Vacation Land was the first like presents, I feel.
It's our umbrella network, if you will.
Because if Are You Afraid of the Dark comes out with more content, of course we're going to be on that, you know, like, for sure.
Smart.
But right now we're, you know, doing other things and or, you know, trying to cover all of the Goosebumps, and we've even made it through all of that and are now on to the new ones,
which I heard might be the last one. I think they're canceling new Goosebumps. So we've had people recommend other shows, so we might dive into a show called So Weird.
I was gonna say that,
That was our other most requested show, which I think is a Disney show. I never watched it.
I've never seen it.
I didn't either. I think with Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps, we dove into it because it had a nostalgia for some of us, but Andrew hadn't seen Are You Afraid of the Dark. He saw Goosebumps, and
he was a Goosebumps kid.
Hadn't seen Goosebumps, so it's almost like us sharing with each other these nostalgic kid horror shows. And
I remember Snick.
I don't know. Yes.
Yeah, that reminds me of like Clarissa Explains It All, and what was that? The Secret World of Alex Mack. I loved that show.
Alex Mack, that liquid ass bitch. We've also done a bunch of movie watch-alongs. Like I said, how we're very mystery science theater, so that's where you're gonna watch our movie watch-alongs, and you'll see that because it's just we talk over the top of a movie while we watch it with you. And that's a Patreon thing. So we queue up the movie, tell you where to stream it, and then you push play when we say go. And then you can listen to us either rip apart this movie for fun or just kind of watch it for the first time.
And that also feels like we're friends in the same room.
Well, that's just
I've had some of those on Discord, which I think is really fun. I think Discord is great for that kind of thing.
I wouldn't mind opening our Discord up a little bit.
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, the Fear Street movies coming out was a huge thing for us, you know, any like the art movies. And
those were good.
Yeah, that was very on brand, obviously.
There's a Tubi one.
Great.
Pumpkinhead, R.L. Stein.
Are there other nostalgic 90s shows that you would like to cover on your podcast?
That's a really good question.
To be relevant with the podcast. See, there's a lot of nostalgia shows I love, but to be relevant to watch for the podcast, I'm not so sure.
Yeah.
You just have got that kind of
Um,
middle grade, like the ones from like a little bit younger than something like Buffy.
Sure. Yeah. Well, that's where we started. There's not really any rules. We could watch
You
whatever,
can do whatever you want.
Think of something good that would actually be entertaining. It's fun to go into the ones that we haven't seen too.
There
Like, what's
was
so weird.
I can't remember the name of it, but
Or is it more
I
like
messaged
the
her.
anthology shows that you're looking for?
Yeah, those are fun. See, what we really loved with the original run of Are You Afraid of the Dark is it is kind of anthology style in that you get different tales, but there's the through line with the campfire. So you're still seeing all these kids that you kind of get to know, and you can, I don't know, just assume what their relationships are and make jokes about that. And that's something we really missed with watching Goosebumps.
Totally.
So something with a through line, I think, would be better. We really enjoyed Erie, Indiana. There's
I
two
liked
seasons
Erie,
out.
Indiana.
Yeah,
So good.
that was a
Ooh.
fun one to
What
dive
about like
into.
Tales from the Crypt? Have you guys thought about that?
We thought about that, and my only problem is it might be too good.
Yeah.
To like make fun of.
Yeah.
Also,
There was
there's
a
another
show
podcast.
kind of like Goosebumps called Creeped Out that had a couple seasons that my son liked. And there's a
okay.
character in that who has a mask. He's kind of like a Sam character, and he's in every episode.
Okay.
That'll be a fun one.
I'm gonna
to
make a
look
note
up.
of that because we need
Yeah.
to look into that.
Yeah, we've had people suggest a few things. Right now, I can only think of So Weird.
I never saw that one.
Yeah, I've never seen it either, but
Wait, why did you-
I
apparently
wish
that's the
so.
most
I grew up in
requested.
England, and I have asked so many people. Granted, most of my friends didn't grow up in England, but there was this show. It was a British show, like Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was like the same kind of thing. I don't remember if there was kids that narrated it. All I remember is there was this one episode that scared the shit out of me, and I can't. I wish I knew what the show was called, but it was an anthology type show, which I don't even remember the other episodes, but it was British. And there was this kid, and he had this mirror up on the wall in his room. And he would look at it when he's doing his homework and stuff. And the guy in the mirror would move in a different way. He's like, no, I saw that. He hated this mirror. And it freaked me out because I had this creepy wardrobe in my room with a mirror on it. And I just really, really hated it. And it made me think of that. So finally, he goes up to the mirror and he's like confronting it. He's like, move, do something. And he puts his hands on it. And then they switch places. And then the doppelganger goes downstairs and kills his family. And I was just like, what the heck? Like, because this was for like, kind of for like kids, but it was way dark.
Sounds familiar.
just murdered dead.
Yeah. I mean, you don't see him doing the murders, but you see their bodies afterwards.
That's
And then the guy's trapped in the mirror trying to get out, but he knows what's happening.
yeah,
Oh, that sounds so
Traumatizing.
yeah.
If you guys can remember or know what it is or are able to figure it out, I've
Is
tried.
there anyone in chat from the UK?
I think that's the other problem too, is when I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of friends who liked a lot of spooky stuff. So I
Yeah.
don't know anybody else who would have watched it. But yeah,
Hmm.
that would have been a good one.
That would be a good one, and maybe we'll figure out what that is and look into it.
Yeah. If I ever figure it out, I'll let you know.
Please do. Please do. We're open to suggestions.
God, that sounds so fucking familiar.
Yeah. It does.
Now I'm excited. Like maybe you've seen it. Because we
We're
have a
on the
lot of
case. We're
we
on
have
the
a lot
case.
of UK shows here, like Red Dwarf and stuff, like things I grew up with.
Yeah.
So it's highly likely you guys got it in America too.
As much as I think Tales from the Crypt is such a better show, I feel like Tales from the Dark Side might be better.
Yeah.
For, like,
It's cheesy.
Just 'cause
Oh
it's
gosh. Yeah.
cheesier and
We
more
need
fun.
that.
Yeah, that's
We need
It
that.
needs a
that's
level
where
of
we really
cheese.
thrive. Yeah.
That's how Dan actually wants to do a podcast of Charmed, just because it's fun, but some of it is so bad. And they have a neighbor Dan, and his name's Dan, so he wants to do neighbor Dan's Charmed podcast. I'm like, that's amazing. I love it.
I like that. It's got a ring to it.
You should do it.
Perfect.
I also
Yeah.
wanted to ask you guys about VHS collecting, because I know Bri has a
Mhm.
massive collection, and every year at Crypticon, you usually bring them
Does
to
too.
get signed. Yeah?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I used
What are
to.
some of your favorite
I lost
VHS
half-
tapes? Because what I like the most is the covers. I miss the
Yes.
VHS covers.
Yes, absolutely. VHS cover art
you
is
guys
what
have
draws
any?
you in. And
That was on my list of things to do when we were setting up. Was I was going to bring down my Black
Tape.
Roses tape. But,
oh yeah,
that's the one thing I have that Bri is jealous of is my Black Roses VHS that is 3D. It is so beautiful. That is probably my most prized possession in my VHS collection. Also my Linnea Quigley workout tape,
which is at my house.
which is
Very
at your
cool.
house. But
I saved it from the divorce.
did. And I also have three of the Bernie Angel pornos, like the Fuckenstein and like just whatever the horror ones.
Do you have Evil Head?
Yes, and they're all signed by Joanna Angel.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I got those from a VHS swap.
That's pretty cool.
Online.
My Black Roses.
I've always wanted to
3D.
see
It's
the Frankenhooker one. I've never seen it in person.
Yeah, I don't have Frankenhooker.
You know where you push it and it says "one a day."
Yeah, that's a good one. One
you
of
know
my
what's really
favorite
expensive
tapes-
to find?
What?
I think you guys are delayed. Sorry.
No.
What's really hard to find, because I don't have a huge VHS collection, so I specifically got ones that were important to me. Like I have all the Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV show VHSs right here, but I don't have a whole lot. I have like these ones here, but I wanted Killer Clowns from Outer Space because I watch that movie all the time. That's another one that I would say watch with friends because it's just great, even if you're not paying that much attention to it. It's so fun.
So fun.
The VHS for that is so hard to find.
I know. So that's one that I'll probably never be able to afford because it's like $350, the one that I want. I do have like the 2000s Midnight Movie release, and I got all three Chiodo brothers and Suzanne Snyder to sign it. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I have a Palace Pictures, which is a UK distributor release of Evil Dead, which has the Graham Humphreys art on the front. And I won that in a contest, so I didn't even have to pay for it. That was pretty rad. I got that from Rob from he runs an Evil Dead website. Rob from bookofthedead.com, I think is what it is. So that was pretty cool. I have a really cool boot. The guy that shipped it put it in a cardboard box with 503 on the top of it, and it came with a activator and a couple stickers that you are one. So that was a pretty cool thing. I've seen
that. A lot of people making VHS covers for movies that were never released on VHS. I saw a really cool one for Evil Dead Rise. They made some neat ones. Like a lot of times you can find them on eBay and such, or Etsy.
There's some pretty cool ones. Yeah. But the one I got was only $40, which with the packaging and all the extra shit he put in, not a bad price. I mean, Sony was trying to sell a VHS of Alien Romulus for $60 or something, which is pretty nuts.
And I had the Ring on VHS, which I think is essential. Did you grab some VHSs?
Yeah, especially if you live in Washington.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't. Shut up. I have to go upstairs and feed the cats in a sec, so I can. I have a horror room upstairs that's just lined with VHS tapes. So the Ring on VHS is so funny because we watched it just like on streaming, but I had all my VHS types at the old house, like around the TV, and the kiddo was like watching the Ring, which I realized she was a little young. I think she was probably about, again, 9. She's like 13 now, but
she wanted to watch.
She walked into the room and said, "We're watching the Ring tonight." And I was like, okay.
Yes.
So she watched it and I was like, oh no, I fucked up, because she was like, oh, like instantly. And she's like, "Can we pause this? I need a minute," which she's never done. And I was like, oh shit. And she's like, "I need you to turn every light on in the hallway for me to go to the bathroom." And I was like, fuck, I fucked up. But then she sees the Ring VHS tape, which we should have just watched on VHS. She sees it. She goes, "If we watched it on that, would we die?"
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
probably.
I've watched it. I'm still okay. Like, that's awesome. I also wanted to ask you guys about horror tattoos, because you guys both have a lot of tattoos. Do you have any special horror tattoos?
Yeah. Yeah, hang on. Okay. I don't know if you can see, but I have.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Wait.
That's amazing.
By Bruce Campbell.
It's signed?
Yeah. Wow. And then I got Cheryl.
Cheryl.
Cool.
Uh-oh.
My two favies.
We lose them? Uh-oh. I think I broke them. I broke them. Are you guys still there? Adam says, you guys should do a 5 degrees thing with her aunt when actually is so small. I bet you know each other or a friend or a friend. Yeah, probably. How are you guys doing in the chat? So I'm probably going to wrap it up here in a bit. Hopefully they can come back so I can say goodbye to them. Okay, are you guys back? Okay, good. Ah! While we're waiting for them, I'm going to let you guys know what's coming up on the channel. So Friday, I am doing a Jackbox game night for members of the channel and patrons. So you can watch it on Patreon or you can watch it on the channel if you're a member. That's only $5 a month. And we also do movie watch parties every month and there's bonus content. So yeah, Mr. Flickster is going to be on in a few weeks. On Sunday, I have Kim Dowdett on. She does haunted tours of Seattle. So she knows all the best haunted places. And she's a true crime expert. So that's going to be a really fun show. That's going to be Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then next week, I'm going to have Night and Coriander on. And Danny's going to join me. We're going to be talking about our favorite holiday horror movies. That'll be next Wednesday. All right. They're back. Can I hear them? And I can't hear them. No. Last time I gave them a new link. And Mr. Flickster, yeah, he's going to be on, and I can't remember what we're talking about. But I've got some good people coming onto the show here soon. I'm looking at my calendar to see who I have. Sean Erson's going to be on, Erson. And Jen's Reviews from the Grave. Is that the theater lady? Yeah, Adam, she does a lot of theater. She's a theater kid, so that'll be Sunday. And then, yeah. So I stream every Sunday and Wednesday. So Wednesdays are usually at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sundays are at 6 p.m. Hopefully the girls come back. I don't want to say too much because I feel like they're going to show up any minute. Well, hopefully they come back so I can say goodbye to them. I'm going to give them a new link. Maybe that'll help. And I'd love to have more people on the show. So if there are anybody that you guys would like to see on the show for Gory Talk or to have join me on a panel, if there are any topics that you would like to see me do for a panel, I've got some stuff planned for January. I think we're going to be talking about what the best movies of 2025 were. Any topics like that are good. Or, you know, if you would like to be on a panel, that is one of the reward tiers on my channel members and Patreon. Am I ready to rank Monster High movies? Yes, actually, that is what we're doing next. Over on Horror Addicts after this stream, Danny and I are going to be ranking all of the Monster High movies just because we got really into Monster High recently. So hopefully they come back. Let's go back to the guest room. Are you back? Here, let's get the link. I can't hear them. Okay, I see them. Sorry for the technical difficulties. What's NYE stream? I can't hear you. Can you hear me? They'll be back. So yeah, once they get back in here, we'll probably wrap it up for the night. But it has been really fun hanging out with you guys. Black Velvet. So other things I'm planning for members of the channel, which I know Adam is a channel member, is we're going to be doing some more like watch parties and that kind of thing. Oh yeah, New Year's Eve. There, okay, they're back. I can hear him. And there's a kitty. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm gonna I think let me see if I can see you back on this. Okay, there you
He's
are. So you
he's
need to
our
go
tech man.
feed your kitty. Oh my gosh, how much does he weigh?
He's on a diet. He was 23 pounds, but now he's
Oh
down.
wow, that's the only cat I've ever seen that weighs more than my cat. My cat's an orange cat, which they're just naturally bigger. The boys are. He's 17 pounds, and once he hit 17 pounds, his vet started calling him Butterball because he's now weighs as much as a Thanksgiving turkey. But yeah, now he's got a
Aw.
fellow chubby friend over on the other side of the
Well,
mountain.
this is a Siberian forest cat. They're naturally about 19 pounds, but
Wow.
23 is overweight, so he
Yeah.
needs to lose. He's
He
mad
is
because he's on a diet.
gorgeous. He's gorgeous.
He is.
Well,
He's a
guys,
sweet one.
let us know what you guys have in store, like when you're gonna be back with your podcast. I think maybe next year. You said.
Yeah, next year. We don't have a specific date yet, but we're getting things in line, and we'll probably be diving into season 2 of New Goosebumps, the one with Ross Geller from Friends.
I haven't seen that one
David-
yet, so
David
Yeah.
very cool. I
Yeah.
watched the first one that had what's his butt? The guy from Jeepers
Justin
Creepers.
Long?
Yes, Justin Long. I watched
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah,
So I'll have to check it out
we
and see
called
if
him
it's worth
Long
watching.
Goose.
Very cool.
It's pretty fun.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you guys
it's a good
so
one.
much for joining
So
me
beautiful.
and sharing your stories. And it's just been a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys will join me again. Maybe we'll have to
Yeah.
talk, do like a panel type stream next time and share some more movies
Yes,
and
yeah,
stuff.
I think
'cause
that'd be great.
you guys are a wealth of horror information. I always like hearing about new movies from you. So guys, there are links.
Well, you too.
Thank you so much. Their links are in the description down below. So do check out their podcast. There's so much content there, more than enough to get you through the holidays before they come back. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
And thank you, Kitty, for being so patient.
He is kind of.
Thanks for having us. So good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you guys in the chat. And remember, I will be live again on Sunday with Kim Dowdett. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if you are a member, we will be playing games on Friday, which is super rad. And until we meet again, blessed be. Wrong. I clicked the wrong button. All right.